Overlooked, underrated, and quite possibly even forgotten about, Advance Wars is an amazing turn-based tactics game with a fun, colorful art style that can make you forget you were even playing a game all about war. I was around 10 years old when this game first came out, and I instantly fell in love with the series. Developed by Intelligent Systems, who are well known for making their other great Nintendo titles such as the Paper Mario, WarioWare, and Fire Emblem series. However, Advance Wars tragically has been left in the dust and completely forgotten about. The last game in their series, Advance Wars Days of Ruin, was released in 2008. Since then, Intelligent Systems has decided to focus on their other popular franchises, such as Fire Emblem, instead. While I do love Fire Emblem, it makes me pretty sad knowing that we will most likely never see them make an Advance Wars game ever again. It was a game I grew up with and that I have very fond memories of that I highly suggest to anybody looking for a game to play, especially if you enjoy strategy games. I recently played through the campaign of Advance Wars using an emulator called Visual Boy Advance, and it is still just as great as I remember. There are 4 main Advance Wars games in the series, and each sequel offers more units, more playable COs, more maps, and overall more in-depth strategies. While the sequels have so much to offer, I will be focusing this video on the first game where it really all began, and maybe in the future I will cover the other titles in the series. Whenever I would try discussing this game with my friends, they all told me that they have never even heard of the series before, which I found pretty hard to believe considering how amazing it was. I figured they would have at least known a little about it, so I started to look into reasons why such a beloved and highly rated game didn't have the recognition that it deserved. Well, there was one possible reason that I discovered. You see, Advance Wars was released in North America for the Game Boy Advance on September 10th of 2001.
That doesn't sound right, but I don't know enough about stars to dispute it.
No, it's right.
Yeah, it really did. First off, I feel like I have to say there could not be a worse release date for a game like this. This game focuses on war. I mean, the game even includes people crushing down towers in order to capture them. If I had to guess a reason on why this game didn't have more success, I would definitely start with the very tragic and unfortunate release date of this game. If you were anything like me when this game came out, you were also probably younger, which means that your parents probably bought the game for you. I doubt many parents were out buying this game for their kid, considering what was going on in the world at the time. So while I can't say for sure how large of an effect this had on the series, I can still assume that this is one of the larger reasons to why this game isn't as well known as it deserves to be. Well, moving on from that, let's talk about the game. Advance Wars is a very simple yet focused strategy game. You play as a member of the Orange Star Army, and you are caught in the middle of a war involving other countries of the world, such as Blue Moon, Green Earth, and Yellow Comet. I'll be sure not to spoil the story, however, it is a very simple one with nothing too complex about it. The other games in the series definitely have more going on in the story, but this one remains to be very straightforward. You start the game with a pretty hefty tutorial around 13 stages long. This remains to be one of the best ways to start the series in my opinion. If you are brand new to Advance Wars, there is no better way to start than with the first game and to learn everything from the tutorial. 13 stages is a bit much, but afterwards you will know everything. And honestly, it isn't so bad, it is pretty engaging. You also have the option of skipping all 13 tutorial stages, which is also fine, especially if you have played the game before or if you don't have a lot of patience. Unlike other tactics games, you have what is called a commanding officer, or CO. There are several you meet throughout the game, and each CO has different strengths and weaknesses, along with a superpower that they can use during the stages. For example, you have Max, one of the Orange Star COs, who is a master at direct combat, making all of his land, air, and naval units that attack in melee range, such as tanks, submarines, or even battlecopters, deal a bunch of bonus damage. The trade-off, however, is that all of his ranged units, such as artillery, rockets, or missiles, all have less attack range and damage than normal. Every CO has a CO power which you can charge up sort of like like an ultimate ability. When Max uses his power, his direct combat units deal even more damage and even get a movement bonus. Every CO can change your strategy and gameplay style around immensely. There are COs who are well balanced, like Andy, who can work pretty well in every scenario with no real weaknesses. Then you have COs like Grit, who can specialize in a specific thing, but also have pretty big drawbacks. COs are one of the more fun elements to mess around with in the Advance Wars series, and the sequels offer so many different ones to choose from, giving you a ton of replayability. There are a lot of combinations to try out with all of the different COs, maps, and units. In the sequels, the COs also get additional powers they can use, which also adds to even more options for your game plan. If you are ever able to play multiplayer against some friends or random people, it's a lot of fun. Another thing that separates this hidden gem of a game from others like it in the genre is that every unit you have is pretty disposable. It's not like in Fire Emblem, where if one of your units dies, they are dead forever, which can make you play pretty differently, usually more passively and much safer without making any risky plays, because you want to make sure every unit stays alive. In Advance Wars, every unit is built from factories, airports, or shipyards. You get money from capturing cities around the maps, and you spend that money to build your units, allowing for you to play aggressively whenever you want, sacrificing pawns just like you would in chess. This is something you probably wouldn't do in Fire Emblem, and it sets it apart from other tactics games. You get all sorts of fun units to choose from, ranging from the weak but necessary infantry units to tanks, artillery, recon, anti-air units, and even the powerful air and naval units such as battlecopters, bombers, submarines, and battleships. There are a variety of direct combat and ranged units to choose from that can fit different playstyles. Some units can also counter others pretty heavily, keeping some of the stronger and more expensive units balanced. For example, the very expensive bomber unit deals a heavy amount of damage to ground units and is very difficult to kill. However, there are a variety of anti-air units that can deal with it easily. Each unit has strengths and weaknesses just like all of the COs, and there isn't any unit that is untouched and useless. They all have a purpose in the game. I find that the very first Advance Wars game doesn't have too many units where it would get just too complicated. All of it is very straightforward and easy to understand. Sometimes less is more, and that's what I love about this game. The first game is definitely easy to pick up for everyone, and I find it to be a perfect gateway game into the world of the tactics genre. There really is a ton of stuff in this game, and I feel like I can't do it justice with just one video. The graphics for this game are fantastic. I love the happy-go-lucky, optimistic, and colorful designs of the characters, units, and even the animations. Every army has different models for all of their different units, which helps add some more flavor to all of the different countries. If you enjoy strategy games, turn-based games, or just retro games, you have to check this game out. The first one is the perfect place to start. While it is a very short game with only 5 hours of game time to beat the campaign, this will end up a great gateway into the series as a whole, and you can immediately try out the sequels, which offer a lot more to the series. I rate this game a solid 9 out of 10. Colorful art style, engaging combat, fun strategies, and fantastic music. The only downside to this game is that the story mode is far too short and the tutorial is a bit too long. However, you do have the option of skipping the tutorial, so it's not that big of an issue. And there is also the advanced campaign, which can make the story mode more difficult and more engaging the second time around. I highly suggest trying out this game. You can emulate it for free, so make sure to get Visual Boy Advance and try it out for yourself. If you enjoyed this game and find yourself wanting more, make sure to try out the sequels. It definitely offers a lot more content. There are all kinds of amazing games like this that really don't get enough attention, and hopefully with videos like this, these games get all of the love that they really deserve. I really wish this series would get a revival, and with consoles like the Nintendo Switch, I can't think of a more perfect system that I wish a new Advance Wars game would be playable on. Anyways guys, thank you so so much for watching, and like always, make sure to check out my live streams over at twitch.tv/Artorigold. I go live every Tuesday through Saturday around 6 p.m. PST.